Hello, I'm Neil Solomon, co-chair of the steering committee at CQC and chief medical director at HealthNet. I'm here with my colleague, Wells Shoemaker.
I'm the other co-chair of the CQC, and I'm also the medical director of the California Association of Physician Groups, which is an organization of 150 medical groups which care for, in turn, approximately 18 million Californians. We're here to talk a little bit about the California Quality Collaborative, where we've been, where we're going, and what our hopes for the future are. And I thought it would be useful to have a little bit of short history. CQC started out as a single disease focused organization. Diabetes, probably the most important disease in California. What we learned about taking care of this important chronic disease expanded into others, so we expanded our scope to become the Breakthroughs in Chronic Care program. And as we got involved with yet more aspects of healthcare, leadership, computer applications, patient satisfaction, we expanded our name and our scope again to become the California Quality Collaborative 3 years ago. And I was hoping you might tell us a little bit about what we've been doing for the last 3 years, Neil.
Sure, that's a great summary of where we've been. And over the last 3 years, we've had three key aims. One around patient experience, one about clinical care, and one about efficiency. And we've made great strides toward all three of those. So at the beginning of the 3-year planning process, we set very specific goals around improving chronic care measures for over 1 million patients. We set another goal about reaching the vast majority of medical groups so that they all participated in one way or another. With regard to the patient satisfaction, we set as the goal the 75th percentile for all the groups that participated in these programs. And for efficiency, we identified some key new metrics and watched the progression of those early participants. And on all of those metrics, we made great progress and essentially hit our goal, our 3-year goal on each of those. And so now in late 2010, we've had a chance to look back and say, hooray, we did a great job with our original and our initial set of goals. And we're just at the process now where we're looking to the future in this era of health reform, et cetera, and setting our goals for the next 3 years. Certainly one of the things that we've seen, you and I and plenty of others, is that over the course of CQC's life, groups have gone from kind of understanding population management to being able to talk the language, investing in tools, now doing very sophisticated population-based work using registries and other electronic means, interfacing those electronic tools with electronic health records so that you can not only do outreach to populations but also intervene at the point of care, and inveighing those kind of population-based principles throughout their organization. So it's not just the medical director or chief medical officer, it's not just a couple of practices, it becomes more the culture of the whole organization. This is how we do business, this is how we hold each other accountable, and this is how we even train those in our offices, our staff members, to engage our patients in a different way. It gives them new roles, it gives them new identity, and it gives them new responsibilities, which I think all those things rippling out to all the parts of a medical group and to more and more medical groups has been a real healthy thing. So tell me, do you have any sort of specific examples of ways that CQC has been a success? Any sort of cogent examples?
Well, of course, I'm prejudiced by virtue of having been part of this for 10 years. But I would say, as I look at the Inland Empire of California, this is the place where I think not only is our pride perhaps greatest, but also the lessons that we have for the rest of the country most compelling. The Inland Empire is a very large area, but has historically performed in the lowest level of the California performance measures every year. That's not because the people lack motivation, and they're certainly just as smart as anybody else, but they've been operating with a shortage of resources compared to places like West Los Angeles or the San Francisco Bay Area. And what we've found is that by working with those groups and exposing them to new ways of looking at the same old problems, opening their willingness to converse with each other, that not only have they learned from what other people have have done elsewhere in the country, they've taught each other, and they've made accelerated progress in just about every chronic care measure, and particularly in patient satisfaction.
I agree. I think it's been very gratifying to work with a lot of those groups and to see how they have really shot up and incorporated a lot of the techniques, the tools, and the knowledge to be able to do this kind of work and to really show great success. A lot of them are very moving up the ranks and performing about as well as anybody, and they can take great pride in their work. Let me share with you an example of something that for me has been telling over my years working with CQC. In our very first chronic care collaborative, one of the small groups from the sort of the northern recesses of the state, way up in the northwest corner of the state, we had a cadre of physicians come join us for the collaborative. And it turned out that one of the members of their team was a really burned out doctor. She had pretty much had enough and was seriously considering leaving practice altogether, probably clinically depressed. But she was willing to keep an open mind to this thing, and after the first couple of meetings, she started to incorporate what she had learned about building teamwork and working with her patients in a new model. And by the end, she was totally reinvigorated, had become a leader in her group, had totally revamped the way that her own practice worked, and now has become a regional leader. So it had really become a great opportunity for her to kind of be reborn as a physician. So it worked at a sort of an individual level, but when you think about it, it worked in a much bigger way too, because not only did it affect her practice and her patients, but it affected the rest of the group that she worked with and then beyond. So for me, that was a very telling example, and a really gratifying one, of seeing someone really get taken by the concepts and really make them her own and grow with them and help other people in the process.
Well, I think that lesson can be expanded in other ways, and that is that in California we have so many different geographies, the most diverse population in the country, and what we've been able to do by looking at populations as a whole and working together in a bona fide collaborative way and learning every day is that we've been able to show not only quality improvement but affordability, which is among the leading cost to quality ratio in the country. And as we look at the future of reform with accountable care organizations, the lessons that we've been learning with CQC, I think we're going to be applying every single day as we try to make reform truly work for our society. And I was wondering, speaking of reform in the future, if you could look a little bit ahead for CQC and queue up what's coming next.
Well, as you know, we're just finishing a strategic planning process for the next 3 years. And so the actual goals and aims are still a little bit under review and revision. But it really looks like we're paying a lot of attention to where the country is going, where the state is going, where the economy is going. And moving from goals around satisfaction and clinical quality to adding in new goals around complex case management, around preventing hospital readmissions, empowering patients to make better choices and to become more activated self-managers. So the goals, again, are evolving. They're looking out to the rest of the country and anticipating changes that are coming through health reform. And I think that the next 3 years are going to be another 3 years of a lot of work, a lot of excitement, new changes, new skill sets that both CQC will be developing and, importantly, teaching and encouraging throughout the state of California.
I think one of the common themes through that list that you mentioned is that these are all areas where, by delivering higher quality care, more reliable and more consistent care, we also save money by doing the right thing. So when patient safety and economy work together, that really is the golden ring.
It really is, and I agree with you. It combines excellent care, patient experience, and lower costs of care by doing the right thing at the right time. So it's very hard to find those opportunities, and obviously we're still searching like everyone else. But we seem to be finding some of those nuggets, and the next 3 years will be a great opportunity for us to begin to share them and to make sure the groups are implementing those kinds of programs.